So it's day 246 of Hey, What Are You Doing Today? And it's strange. I feel like I've kind of gone through another almost like born again into the same thing, I guess is a good way to put it. I feel like I've crossed a path and reached another level in this endeavor. And I think I'm really starting to become aware of my growth and where it's taking me, and the true benefit of my efforts on sowing the seeds. Something's finally starting to sprout. So that's good. But this is the kind of the first day of reevaluating my situation and deciding that I'm going to start being a little bit more stricter, a little bit cleaner living, as I mentioned in yesterday's video. Kind of going down that path. Two things happened to me yesterday, and my reaction, or my lack of reaction, was really so different than where it would have been a year ago, or had I not undertaken this journey. And then I had something else happen today that kind of compounded that as a proof, as more evidence of it. The one thing, I got a thing in the mail from the IRS telling me that I owe them $500 more than I paid last year, and I paid a ridiculous amount of taxes, what seems ridiculous to me, and I think that could have, had I been in a different frame of mind, I know how I would have reacted last year had I got that. I would have been, upset with thinking where my money was going, what it was supporting, and the fact that I'd paid such a large portion of my income in taxes, and that, unfair this and unjust that, but it wasn't any of that. I just kind of looked at it and was like, send them a check, that's a $500, just let it go, no big deal. Then later that day, I was going to pick up the Luna, and something had dumped debris on the highway, and as car shifted to get away from it, it shifted and went underneath my car, and caused a considerable amount of damage, almost caused an accident, but something got stuck underneath my car, and as I was driving, I was in a construction zone where I couldn't really stop or get over, and an interchange between two major highways, actually, a north and south bound and an east and westbound highway, and I was on the interchange, and it's an unavoidable situation. Not unavoidable, but in the way that it came to me, it was unavoidable at the time. And so I collected this piece of whatever, and as I'm driving, it continues to just destroy the fender of my vehicle. And my thing is, I really like my vehicles. I really, they're friends in some regard, and I take my vehicles kind of personally, and I don't like anybody driving them. If there's a new ding or a dent in it, I'm aware of it, and it affects me. And this one that I have now, I hate even going down to the city, because I'm worried that somebody's gonna parallel park, somebody's gonna rub up against the bumper, and all that kind of stuff. And it's one of those things too that I've heard in the past that sometimes our possessions possess us. I don't know where that comes from or where I've heard that, but in some regards it makes sense now, because I care so much about this physical thing. It keeps me from going to the downtown atmosphere of the city I live in, because now I worry about where I park, or who's going to park next to me, or what are they going to do to my car. And the more I think about it, it's just a silly frame of mind. That is a possession totally running me. But the good thing about this little, I'll call it an accident, because that's what it was. It was an accident. There was some destruction of property involved in it. Had it happened to me a year ago, I would have been, cursing the guy that let something, that didn't tie down whatever it was on his vehicle that fell off. I would have been cursing him for not stopping and trying to correct the situation afterwards, which obviously he didn't, or maybe he didn't know about it. But you know, just want to say cursing, you know, the ether for putting me in that situation, whatever it is. I would have been very upset that my car, you know, all of a sudden now, you know, has to have a new fender or whatever put on. It has to go through a repaint, and has to be somewhat less than perfect. But what really happened was it woke me up. It was kind of weird. In the back of my head for the last few months, I kept having this fear of a serious accident, and I don't know where it was coming from, or you know what it was. I didn't even, I acknowledged it to me, but I didn't say anything to anybody. I just kind of felt like it's coming. There's an accident coming. There's an accident coming, and it was almost felt like something that I almost couldn't control. It would just pop into my head at random moments, and so last night after it happened, I kind of stopped and I said, well, you know, so that was the accident. Thanks for it not being as serious as what I was anticipating. You know, thanks for, you know, nobody was with me, everybody's safe. You know, the situation, although it was a you know difficult and dangerous situation at the time, you know, I found my way to a safe spot where I could wait for a tow truck, and you know, everything happened relatively easily, and you know, and I'm pretty comfortable. You know, my insurance kicked in. I've never had an accident before, and they were pretty easy to deal with. You know, I got a rental car, but it was almost like a relief. It was now, you know, the accident occurred, so hopefully whatever that was going on in my brain is gone, is alleviated. You know, it was a weird feeling. It really was. But the other element of it is, now my car's been damaged, and you know, I still love the car, and I will still care for it, you know, with all its proper service and maintenance and those kind of things. But I'm just not that worried about it. You know, I see I see destruction, and I recognize you know, it's a disposable piece, you know. But what it came down to is, after the accident, I wasn't angry. I wasn't, you know, why did that jerk, you know, let that go? It wasn't any of that. It was thanks I'm safe, thanks it wasn't that serious. It was, you know, thanks nobody's with me, you know, nobody has to worry about it. Thanks that everything's in line, that I you know, was prepared and it's being taken care of. It was peculiar. It was this attitude of grace and gratitude that's something that you know, I've achieved through this mission. You know, it's something that is always a you know, a progress to be. You know, it's always something that can be perfected, but at least the core element, the foundation of that is there. That just you know, don't worry about it. You know, I was even so funny, I wouldn't let valet drivers park my car, because I was not that I wasn't worried that they would steal something from me. I was worried that they might, you know, leave a mark on the steering wheel, or might have keys in their pocket and cut leather or whatever. But just it was a freeing experience. It was totally freeing experience, and eye-opening, and it just made me grateful to see the progress I had made. But then another element, a third element, which occurred today. I have an uncle. He's kind of a father figure to me. When my father passed away, he kind of stepped in and helped raise us for a few years. I always held him way up here. You know, he was always like the fun guy, the smart guy, the coolest guy. You know, the guy that was in the most control. And you know, after he went back to the state that he lived in, after spending a couple years with us and teaching us quite a bit and really making a huge impact on my life. And you know, I haven't seen him in a long time. We talk here and there, little texts or occasional phone calls, but I've always held him in high regards, very high regards, and I still do. I don't want to make any light of that. But he calls me today, and he says, you know, I need to find this guy. I don't know anything about him. All I know is that he's a Swedish national, and he lives in New Jersey, and he has a child in Bangkok, and blah blah blah. And you know, there's something weird about, I mean, that's weird just in general, but there was something that I could sense was being hidden. You know, something that, you know, you didn't know the guy's name, but somehow he wanted me to try to help him find him, and he knew the name of his son. And you know, I says to him, you know, what's really going on? And it turns out that the little bit that I know, he's going to tell me the rest of the story this evening, or so he says, when he has some time to call me. But it was a girlfriend that he had in Thailand, my uncle, and she has a son with this gentleman, and he wants to find this man, and he says, I want to find him because I want to get back at her. Like, what is that? That's you know, a year ago I might have kind of been, oh yeah, let's do it, let's figure out a way to get back at this guy. What did he do? You know, I want to know what's going on, you know, the whole. But my reaction was completely different. My reaction was, let it go. That's the weakest I've ever seen you. It almost makes me ashamed to hear you talk like this. I would think that you were above that and understand. You know, that it was funny because a quote came up from Nelson Mandela that I picked up along the way. Said resentment is like drinking poison and hoping waiting for your enemy to die. You know, it's like you're drinking that poison of resentment that makes you just feel awful. It's just killing you inside, and you're doing it to try to hurt someone else. It just it may be man in his weakest state, that revenge or resentfulness, and it's something that used to be, you know, I could associate with, and it was not uncommon, and I can understand the feeling. I don't want to make light of it. I understand anger. I don't want to pretend like I understand anything, you know. But I'm aware of anger, and I'm aware of the emotions that were discussed. But my reaction was so much different. Next thing I know, I'm just telling them to, forgive it. Forgive the person, let it go, move on. And that's a lot of times it's the best thing to do on a personal level is just to clear everything and just bury the hatchet, so to speak. I don't really know what the situation is, but it was interesting to see my reaction to almost be mortified by what I was hearing, and think that my uncle, this person I held in this high esteem, probably the first time I've ever seen a weakness in him. And then it was just interesting, the conversation we had back and forth. He got into, he's very anti-religion, which that's fine. However, I quickly retorted with, religion is one thing, but it's to forsake wisdom because you hate religion. Almost doesn't make sense to me. When I started this journey, I didn't know much about anything, on a religious level, and with some of the wisdom that I've pulled from different religions, I think Buddhism is huge. I mean, Taoism, Christianity, and then just some things that Jesus Christ did. And there's a wisdom in it, whether or not you are anti-religious or you don't believe in God or whatever the case might be. That's absolutely fine, but I can't allow that to blind me from a genuine wisdom of humanity that comes from that. And I try to explain that to him, and it'll be interesting to have this conversation with him tonight and see where he's at and where I'm at. But it was a good practice to put some of the knowledge that I've picked up along the way in use. It was a good practical way to see how my brain is functioning differently, to see how my thoughts, my emotions, just how I am in general functioning differently. And the closer to clarity, the closer to purity, I think the closer to bliss I will get to, and the closer to bliss, the closer to success. Success. I really like that definition that I came across the other day. Success is how blissfully happy you are. You could be the most successful person in the world, living in the gutter if you're blissfully, ecstatically happy and with your life and with the world around you. I think that's some regards maybe where some of the monks and the different people that invest in meditations and studying different wisdoms, they, to someone that doesn't know anything about their life, they might seem like the most isolated, most lonely, most unhappy people in the world. Some of these people live in mountains and don't see people for months or years, and just totally isolated, and sometimes very cold, very inhospitable regions. But how blissfully happy are they? How successful are they? That's day 246. Hey, what are you doing today?